Hi there, it's Karen Leabo with vintagedazzle.etsy.com, also known as Diggin Dirty Girl, and I am here to give you my sales video for October 2017. I know November is almost over, but what can I say? I'm just always behind. So okay, we're just going to get right into it. I only have a couple of eBay sales, but this is one of them, and if you have been with me for a while, you might have heard me talk about these sharpening stones. This is called a Belgian blue and a Coticule stone. It's a combined yellow and blue stone with a seam down the middle. And I mean, look at this thing. It looks like absolute hell. I bought it at the flea market for $3. And I sold it for $89. That is how much these things can go for. So just don't overlook the garage at estate sales, and keep your eye out for those things. And my other eBay sale this month, I know I only had two, but I just don't list very many things on eBay. But this is a rock collection. Yeah, I got it for $5 at the flea market, and I sold it for $25. So rock collections always sell, especially if you find one that has uranium. If you find one that has uranium in it. Okay, moving on to Etsy. This is an 18 karat gold, tiny little pin with sapphires and diamonds. This came from my mother-in-law, so I paid nothing for this, and it sold for $145. Oh, and by the way, this is not all my sales. These are just the sales that I thought other people might find interesting. You know, things that went for bigger amounts of money, or just interesting things you maybe wouldn't expect to sell for quite as much as they did. And this is an antique Cloisonne scholar's brush holder. It's just like about the size of a little pencil cup, but I just fell in love with the imagery on this. It's got this stylized butterfly, very Art Nouveau looking. This is an old one. And just look at all the different things that are on it. It's got this peach and an oak leaf. It's almost like somebody's little sample thing, and it did have some damage on it. But I paid $30 at the flea market for that because I couldn't walk away from it, and it sold for $89. I did have to sit on it for a while. And this is a Bergere, silver-plated or silver-colored, kind of a chunky necklace. I included this one because it's a good name to watch for, Bergere, another one of these mid-century designer costume jewelry. I paid $9 for that. I really paid too much for it, but it sold for $27. So, and this is a set of onyx and 14 karat gold beads, and this is so funny. This came from, I think it came from my sister-in-law, and I had it. I left it just sitting around for the longest time because I had no idea that it had gold until I started looking at it more closely, and the clasp was marked 14 karat gold, and it turned out these little spacer beads were also gold when I tested them. Now these are tiny beads. They look kind of, but see how little this is. Anyway, so I did not pay anything for that, and I sold it for $55. This is a little Petit point purse. These purses always do well for me, and this brand in particular is pretty good. Joel's, or I don't know how you say it, but it's Jolles, and I got this at the flea market for $10 and sold it for $75. This is just a peculiar little thing. It's a ceramic tile that says "Strength United is Stronger." And I saw this at the flea market and just thought, that is something kind of different and special, and it must mean something to somebody. And I actually paid $10 for it. And it took me a while. I did some research on it, and it turns out it is a California art tile, and it was architectural salvage from the California Federation of Women's Clubs. See where the back is. It had, well, you probably can't see it. No, I didn't get a good picture of. There was just this really indistinct mark on the back. It took me forever to figure out what it was. But anyway, the good news is that it sold for $65. I did have to sit on it for a while. And this is a wine decanter with silver-plated parts, and it was shaped like a duck. And I got that at the flea market, paid $20 for it, and sold it for $64. And I just included this because the art glass paperweights always do well for me. They're kind of a bread and butter item for me. This one's not Murano. It's not anything special, and in fact, I think it probably was made in China. I'm guessing because of the style of the fitted box that it came in. But it is kind of, you can put Murano style on things like this. And I paid $5 at the flea market, and that sold for $28, which is a pretty low price for one of these type of cane glass paperweights. If you get one that has a Murano sticker on it or something, you can sell it for more like $50, $60, $70. And I sold a couple of those this month. This is a Victorian to Edwardian paper mache box. I just love this kind of thing. Paid $8 for that, I think, at the flea market. Just, it had this like doily and this little picture inside. I mean, you could tell it was really old. And that sold for $72. Very happy with that. This is a Bulova watch from the 1970s. Any kind of Bulova watch is going to sell well, even the ones that don't work. This one was in working condition, and I paid $8 for that, probably at the flea market, and it sold for $42. And this is a nice primitive. It's a lemon squeezer, in case you see this and don't know what it is. It took me a while to figure it out. I've actually sold cast iron versions of this same tool. But I just love to sell the kitchen primitives. I paid $5 for that at the flea market and sold it for $25. So not a huge price, but not bad. Now these came from my mother-in-law, and frankly, I can't take credit for being clever and, scooping these up at an estate sale or something, because I probably would have passed right by these. But they are ear cuffs. They fit, on this part of your ear, and they had a very hard to read, indistinct mark. It was, the mark was a capital H, small a, capital H. Took me forever to figure out what they were, but my mother-in-law said, these are special. I don't remember why, but they are. So look up and see if you can figure out who the maker is. So I did spend some time on it, and it turns out that they are Hans Hansen from Denmark. They are sterling silver, made in the 1940s, and drumroll, they sold for $185, and they sold really very quickly, and the customer was very happy to get them. And this bracelet came from my sister-in-law, so I paid nothing for this, and it's Art Deco style rhinestone. And I thought it looked really familiar when I saw it, and it turns out it is a book piece. I don't remember what book. But it's not, I don't think it has a known maker, but it's just such a great look to it. Anyway, that sold for $115. And these are some silver plate sugar tongs. They are Thorvald Martinson, Norway. And I paid $3 for these at the flea market, and they sold for $25. And this, I thought this was really amusing. This is a World War II era first aid kit that I paid $14 for this. And I just have to show you all the pictures because I found it fascinating. I just was trying to imagine, some war medic using this, that some guy's got a bullet wound and what you've got is a box of bandages and some scissors and a tourniquet, just, oof. It doesn't say U.S. Army on it anywhere, but it is this olive drab color, so I'm sure that it was military. And just show you these real fast. This is like some kind of ointment, bandages. There's what the boxes. The boxes have actually little how-to diagrams on the back. Oh gosh, just terrible to think about what those soldiers went through. Anyway, $14 for that, and it sold for $55. And this was my jacket. At some point, I wore this in the 1980s. It is Victor Costa for Neiman Marcus. A Bolero jacket. It's got the big shoulder pads. I'm pretty sure I didn't buy this new because even when I was making money, I didn't shop at Neiman Marcus. I probably got this at a consignment shop. I don't know what I paid for it, but I sold it for $65. I was frankly surprised it took a very long time to sell at that price. And the last item I have to show you is a carved bone and horn bib necklace. This was probably made in Africa. Has a very tribal, ethnic, big, chunky look to it. And anytime I can find this kind of stuff, I pick it up because it always sells. Paid $1 for this. I don't remember where I got it. And it sold for $28. So that's it for this month. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back again soon with another haul video. Bye. Oh, if you like the video. Yeah. Okay. Bye.